The transfer window is finally open. And after all the ups and downs and the controversies, have Newcastle United improved? And will they be a force for the future? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Shea. And now Murphy could take on the shot. Fabian Shea away.
All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all blessed and are doing well. I'm so excited about today's show because got to really get into the depths and the breadths of the Newcastle United transfer window, looking into our squad, looking into our team on the pitch, off the pitch, thinking about the now, thinking about the medium, thinking about the future for Newcastle United. And I won't lie to you guys, I'm excited. I am excited, despite all the controversies around the Isak saga and obviously some after effects and of that as well, even up to today with news and stuff like that, which I'm not going to talk about because this is going to be an extensive show talking about our summer window. And to me, that's the most important thing right now. Obviously, have we bought well? Have we sold well? Have we kept the players? Um, are we going to move forward? That is what is important to talk about. And look, as always, I'm blessed to have people already. The chat's popping off. Please do like, share, and subscribe, folks. We've got 10 people currently seeing. Let's get 10 likes. Let's go for it, guys. And yeah, I hope you guys always, folks, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So God bless you, folks. So before I start with the show, I'm going to be talking about, like I said, in the show, I'm going to be talking about doing a review of our summer transfer window. I'm going to give a general overview from what I found in terms of the players that we bought and we sold. Talking about, in terms of how kind of doing it, going back and forth with kind of the previous shows that we did previewing our summer transfer window, what we need, the positions we need to fill, how much money we may need to spend in order for us to be a force in the league, to be able to compete for all competitions. I'm just going to kind of review some of that as well, stuff and kind of because it explains why why I'm perhaps looking at this transfer window in the way that I'm looking at now, and obviously we did us all together. So as always, folks, you guys are here to give me your expert opinions to add nuance and context to all that we're talking about Newcastle today. But before we get into it, let me just say hello to all the folks in the chat. BT, good to see you. Good evening, Philip, and those in the chat. Good evening to you, BT. Hope you're well, sir. Davey, always a blessing to see you, sir. Good evening, BT. Oh, you say good evening to BT, not even to me, BT. Davey, thanks for that. BT says Isak has made a belated attempt to rebuild bridges at Newcastle by thanking his former teammates. Yeah, I saw that. St. James's Park staff and the club's fans for the support during his 3-year at Tyneside. Yeah, I saw that. Fair play to him. And we move. This is what happens when you're sitting at the big toy. And look, one thing I was going to actually talk about in the windows, like, who would have thought 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, if I was to tell you we were going to sell a player for 130 million, we would have, if you were eating something at the time, you would have choked in it. If you would have been drinking something, you would have probably spat it out your mouth and you said, lay off, mate. So it just shows you, even though in a twisted way, it shows you that we have made progress as a team. We're going to be talking about that some more, though. But Davey says, cheers, bro. Thankfully, transfer market closed, was getting stressed. Yeah, absolutely. Davey says it was Liverpool, AI team done that trying to read the room. BT says, Rio Ferdinand comment on Woltemade. He is a very good player and probably one of the best style icons for the next 3 or 4 years in the Premier League. Great hair. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks, Rio. David says, let's see. Hopefully it all comes good. Absolutely. David says, Toon Tactics, where are you? Sorry, sir, I was late. Sorry, sir. BT says, Wissa's transfer nearly failed at the last minute. Yeah, 30 seconds to go, apparently. Some Indiana Jones style thing to get it over the line. Winston's transfer nearly failed at the last minute when he initially forgot to sign on a critical form. The deal was then officially completed at 8:59 p.m. And you know that could be the reason why the solid deal for Frankfurt fell through, because remember that was going on. And I'm just wondering, they thought, what's his name? That they thought that Wissa wouldn't go through, so we might have to keep a solo. So I reckon that's why. I think that's why it collapsed, in my opinion. Martin Bland says organized crime is Swedish player links. Wow, what have I missed? Martin Bland says makes you view things a little bit differently. Wow, I must have really missed on something. And breathe a sigh of relief that Big Nick came with his parent, not an entourage of dodgy employees. Yeah. Yeah, he's a mum's boy, man. From what I can see. Nat, good to see you. God bless you. Good evening to all. Thank God the transfer window is shut. Absolutely. And Isak saga is done. Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. BT says reason for the delay. Philip said that he was off to the supermarket to buy a case of water. You know me almost too well. Nat's already rated the window, 8.3 out of 10 window. I like that rating. Davey says, even if Philip, hope you have a note for being late. My apologies. I do. Aaron Cape says, gutted for how we handled negotiations for the rat, but other than that, decent window. I still think we needed another attacking midfielder in there, but we're good. Happy with the business. Absolutely. David Vage, always a blessing to see. Good to see you, David, even in Philip. And that says, I have a question. What do you think about what Lee said about Isak towards end of summer? I have a question. What do you think about what Lee said? What Lee said about Isak towards the summer, end of summer? Remind me what you mean by that, and I'll come back to it. End of season. Let me know. All right, folks. Let's get it on. I'm like I said, I'm really, really excited about when I was doing the work, doing the research, just doing my best to dive in and to talk about the actual business that we did, because like we said, the Isak saga overshadowed everything else, and I knew, like, I don't know about you guys, but I knew, for instance, when I was when you see players come in, your Wissers, your Woltemades, I didn't get to really feel excited about it. Not that I didn't like the players, but like because of I think it's partly to just Isak saga and having to go back and forth with people constantly about it. I didn't really get to enjoy the fact that we've got great players coming in, that we've spent like a lot of money as well, and I don't want to forget the journey that we're on. Like, we've seen relegation twice. We've seen battling relegation numerous times. And look where we are now. Spending, I don't know, depends how what accounts you're looking at, anything up to 200, maybe even more than 200 million pounds, and buying in some really good players. Like, so I'm hoping to use this episode with all of you guys to be able to get excited again about the business that we actually done, in my opinion. So let's do it. Let's get on with it. Let's talk about it. So it's going to be quite long. It's going to be quite extensive and stuff like that. But look, that's what we're here for. I am going to be doing, obviously, a review of the summer transfer window, our squad build, and doing a little bit of my armchair PSR analysis as always. And I'm going to break it up into two bits. I'm going to talk about the squad build at the beginning. So we're going to review the previous areas of development. So the stuff that we talked about before, prior to this window, where we need to improve in terms of our squad, obviously. For the people that will remember, like things like squad rotation, or aging squad, or some parts of our playing style, things of that nature, and to kind of see, have those areas been addressed? Have we addressed those areas with the players that we've bought and the things that we're doing? And as a result, what are our expectations for the team this season? And obviously, we'll close off that part, and then we'll go into the PSR analysis. And it's important to me, and I'm sure it's important to the folks who are watching it, because I don't want to go through 3 seasons, 3 more windows of not being able to buy a player because of PSR. And so I want to make sure that we're in a healthy position. Now, spoiler alert, we're in a very, 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 very good PSR position. Nonetheless, it's important to still go over that ground and to talk about it and to see what the future holds. And added with that, folks, and I'm not going to spoil that too much, but I think I'll come to in my conclusion, but I think Newcastle are entering into a new phase in terms of our club, in terms of our team, and I think if we again qualify for Champions League this season, where we've we've held the door ajar. It closed. We're banging on it now. The hinges are coming off, and being able to qualify for the Champions League again, I think we're holding the door ajar. So I'll leave it at that. I know we've got, so like I said, there's some armchair accounting. What is our current PSR standing? What does that mean for our future? And I'm so excited. I'm going to be talking about it with you folks. And as always, folks, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Right. So when we're doing the playing squad, I want to be able to talk about. I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to give a general overview first of the playing squad. Talking about because one of the key areas we wanted to address before was we had one of the oldest squads in the league. We had an aging squad and the lack of depth. No doubt because we had no doubt because we've had 3 windows of no transfers, no players, no first team players coming in. So I want to be able to talk about how we address that, because an aging squad and lack of depth are crucial for us if we're going to be able to have a team that's going to be competitive on all fronts, be consistent as well. So yeah, and I'm going to be talking about height and physicality. That's just my very small indicator. This is not the be all and end all, meaning that this is it. But it's just my indicator of being able to estimate our squad height trends to see just if are we physically getting bigger, stronger, are we more robust, are we able to impose ourselves on the other teams. That's quite important to be able to look at as well. And we're going to be looking at areas of our areas of development in our team. We're going to go back to the previous shows where we talked about, when we did a review of our team, how we did, what we did well, what areas we need to improve going into this summer transfer window. Have those areas been addressed? I'm going to be talking about that as well, and have the players. Speaking of the players, like your Elangas, your Nick Woltemades, have they addressed those areas of concern, those areas of development? Good to see Bobby Fairview. A big up Toon fans. Bless up Philip. I hope you are doing well. The transfer window felt icky, but you've done some very good business. Pity you didn't have time to get a creative 10. I don't disagree, but I'm really looking forward to getting your views on things as well. And big up to Cynical Jim. And big up to Martin Bland. Good to see you guys. God bless you. Right. So as always, I've got my thingy bobs in the air, in there. So just before I go on to talk about, like, just going back briefly, this is from a slide that we did prior to the summer transfer window, when we were able to look at what was our squad rotation, how old was our squad, and as a way of seeing where and how, as some indicators of where and how we needed to improve. So this was done like 3-4 months ago now, right? So at the end of the season, this was from our squad review, right? So at the end of the season, we had 15 players who played 1,000 minutes or more. So that's 10 games or more. That is a serious lack of rotation. If we looked at the teams like Liverpool, Bayern Leverkusen, who did obviously like incredible. They had a squad rotation of about 18, 19 players, for instance, and we had 15. It was abysmal. The main areas of rotation was in our midfield area and in our goalkeeping area. If you looked at our defense and you looked at our forward line, we had a serious lack of rotation. Added to that, when we're looking at our aging squad, and we're going to go in a bit later, we have I think the second or third oldest squad in the league as of last year before this transfer window. I think we're roughly about 28 years and above, and we're old in all the wrong areas. So you can see a part here that says core squad. Core squad are players. I think it was Dan Burn, Bruno Gomes, Shaw, who played like 40 plus games, who played the most minutes. So between 2,900 to 3,400 minutes. No, excuse me. Not the core, high dependency. That's the high dependency guys. They played the most minutes, between 2,900 to 3,400 minutes. They are the oldest part of our squad as well. They're about 31 years average age, right? So if the players that we depend on the most are like either nearing towards or past their prime, we can already see that we're on tenterhooks. I think in terms of our team and our squad depth, and that kind of showed in the fact that it took the last game of the season for us to qualify, and we lost it to Everton. And if it wasn't by God's grace that He made the Red Devils, ironically, beat Aston Villa for us, we will be in the Europa League right now. So, lack of depth. We see it in a squad rotation. 15 players that played 1,000 minutes or more. As I mentioned, lack of squad rotation aside from goalkeeper and midfield areas in the forward lines, defensive line, lots of squad rotation. Haven't lack of quality depth and an aging squad where we're relying on 31-year-olds, an average age of 31-year-olds to carry us over the line. Is another major factor that we needed to improve on going forward. So again, it's not for lack of trying. Obviously, we did not buy a first team player for 3 transfer windows. So there was a big areas for us to be able to address going forward. And look, just to kind of further confirm that high dependency, when we did the squad rotation. For those that remember, we broke down the squad into minutes. The high dependency right at the top was Dan Burn, Bruno Gomes, and Fabian Shaw. They played roughly 40 plus games for us. They played between themselves. They played 3,000. Excuse me. They played 3,500, not 2,900. They played between 3,500 to 3,800 minutes. Dan Burn playing the most out of everybody, right? God bless Dan Burn, incredible player. But we can't do that again. Like we could not do that this season, right? And obviously the next layer of squad, the core squad, which is the average age obviously improved significantly. Your Gordons, your Tonali's, your at the time obviously Isak and Livramentos. Those are the next players of dependency, but it's dwindling, right? It's not enough. And obviously you've got then the other part, the key roles in terms of Nick Pope, Jacob Murphy, Lewis Hall, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and our squad rotation becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So 15 players who played 1,000 minutes or more. So there was the key areas that we really, really, really needed to improve. So this is the first thing that we did. These are our arrivals and these are our departures. So I just want to give it, again, going for an overview. I've put some of the departures with the arrivals, which is annoying, but fine. I think it's because it was a loan. But we brought in, if we look from Antonio Cordero in the middle all the way up to Malick Thiaw, Jacob Ramsey, Yoanne Wissa, Anthony Elanga, and Nick Woltemade. Right, so we brought in 6 players, and we're going to break those players down more. We're going to look at it, the profiles, the age, and stuff like that. At the moment, it's just an overview. And the average age, according to this, obviously, this is the players that we brought in. It kind of took in the likes of Target and stuff like that as well. But the average age of the players that we took in, we brought actually, was 24 years, just under the age of 25. So it already shows you that we're trying to get a lower age of players coming in as well. Big up Obajog, good to see you. Hey Phil, Adrian, are we all looking forward to the next season? Absolutely. So the average age is dropping total market value of, obviously this is in euros. I had to do it in euros. Everything goes in euros at the moment. It's annoying. So I'm going to be like trying to figure out what it is. So the average in terms of the players that we've brought in is 195 million euros. I'm guessing we spent about just over like maybe 180 million pounds, something of that sense. And obviously the players that departed, the total sum being 175 million euros of players that left. Alexander Isak being the more than 2/3 of that. The fee of 144 million. It's either 125, 130 million. We've even got journalists arguing about amongst themselves about what that figure is, which is insane. Whatever. It's a lot of money. Fourth highest sell in the world in terms of football, right? But we've also obviously sold Lloyd Kelly. We sold Sean Longstaff. Others went on the free. And it already addresses one of the key things I've been banging on about, and we've been banging on about, is Newcastle United becoming better sellers. And at the end of the day, we didn't have to sell Alexander Isak, right? We would have still been in a decent financial position if we didn't sell him either. So regardless of that, we did sell him. And in terms of the overall picture, in terms of the players that we bought and the players that we sold, is very, very good. So in terms of selling and buying, we've done very, very, very well, like above excellent, A star for Newcastle United in this transfer window so far. General overlook, right? I'm going to be getting more and more into the numbers later on, so I'm not going to dig into that too much at the moment, right? So, and we almost sold, like I said, we almost sold Osola as well. So that lets you know we've got another player that in our back pocket when we need to be able to sell. And again, breaking it down further, the main players that we brought in: Aaron Ramsdale, Malick Thiaw, Jacob Ramsey, Yoanne Wissa, Anthony Elanga, and Nick Woltemade. And the main players that we made money on, apart from Callum Wilson, I don't know why he's there, Sean Longstaff, Lloyd Kelly, and Alexander. Well, obviously Almiron actually as well. I forgot to add Almiron to that as well. So we made money there. Again, excellent. And the players that we did sell, apart from Alexander Isak, I don't think would have a major impact on our quality or over our depth. And my overall view of the players that we did bring in, I think add both quality and depth. 6 players who have done absolutely phenomenal in terms of our first team. Obviously, we bought a lot of players that are like Anthony Cordero and otherwise that are going to be not necessarily with the first team squad at the moment. Right. Now I'm going to break down a little bit in terms of the age of the squad. Now, on the left hand of the screen is our squad before the summer transfer window. And on my right is a squad after the transfer window, right? So on the left, our average age of our squad, the sum of our squad, is 796 years old. and it's 28 players each, right? So I've taken away players that never touched the field with us. And I've kept players that have, even John Ruddy's there because he played at one point. So it's 28 players each. So it's all measured equally, right? So the average age of our team before the summer transfer window was 28 years old, 0.43 years. We were like the second or third oldest team in the league, right? And that's not going to get you over the line if you want to be able to be a team that challenges for Prams, challenges on all fronts, and is looking to go forward. But again, 3 transfer windows, no first team players. That was the case. And already, if you look onto the right of the screen, after the transfer window, the age has gone down to 25.75 years. If just as an average player, that's a player that's heading to or is like very much in the thick of his peak years, which is absolutely phenomenal. We've dropped by nearly 3 years, I think. Nearly 3 years, just 2.5, something like years. I don't know. My maths ain't great. So already with the players that we sold and the players that we've brought in, the average age of our squad has dropped significantly, right? And I had it somewhere in terms of which part of our parts of our midfield, parts of our team is the oldest. But yeah, I think I do have it. So we'll get to it in a moment. But Yeah, so already, like I said, the overview, our team is younger. Our team is significantly younger. Uh, Physically, last year, we were joints first and second with Brentford as one of the physically tallest teams in the league, where the average height of our squad was 1.86 centimeters tall, so roughly just below or just around 6 foot. This year, we've gone up by a centimeter to 1.87 centimeters. So again, it may seem insignificant to some. I think it is significant, especially when we've sold so many players and we've brought in so many players. Our team is more physically imposing. It's rather than decreasing, it's getting bigger. It's more physically imposing and it's more physically robust. And I'm sure we're probably, I don't know obviously what the other teams have brought in as well, but I'm sure we'll still be around that first, second place in the league as well. So we're doing very, very well in terms of that. So the Newcastle squad is physically bigger as well. And good to see Olu. God bless you, sir. Oh, surprised Newcastle have gone to. God bless you, Olu. I appreciate you for that. Good to see Adrian Pickett as well. So the team has gone taller, more robust, we're physically more imposing, which is absolutely great news. And if you break it down again onto the left is where the team was before, where obviously our goalkeepers were taller, were the tallest. Defenders and midfielders are the same height, average height, and forwards just a little bit shorter. This year, our forwards have actually, in average height, have grown by 4 centimeters. I think Nick Woltemade has got something to do with that. But also, Anthony Elanga is bigger, physically stronger, more imposing than Almiron. Right? Woltemade's even bigger than Isak, who left. So we're bigger. It makes sense why the forward line is bigger and stronger. The midfield line has dropped down a little bit by 2 centimeters. The defenders have grown by 2 centimeters. Malick Thiaw coming in there, Matt Target leaving. So again, we're growing physically. Although our goalkeepers have lost about just a centimeter or just above a centimeter or something like that as well. So I think Dubravka is actually taller than Ramsdale. So again, but the average height of the squad, we're going bigger, we're going stronger. Olu doesn't really like that very much, but I do. So it's very, very good for that for us to have that. We've in terms of physical side of things, we're getting better. So if you look at the team on the left is the team before the transfer window compared to the team on the right. So the average age of our squad has decreased and the physical height of our squad has increased compared to the team of last year. And yeah, this is where the midfield, so our goalkeepers are younger than the average age is younger. Our defenders are just slightly older, which shows you again, there's still a lot of work to do. Obviously, Shah and Byrne, God bless them, impeccable for us. But it shows you that as you're growing and developing a team, this team doesn't stand still. They get older. They get as well. Our midfielders are slightly younger, and our forward line is just slightly a touch older as well. So we've got that. There's that part, and obviously the average age of the squad has significantly dropped by over 2 years, which is important. So if you add all of that up, in terms of just an overview, the team has notable transformations from last year to now. Primarily, it's become younger and it's become taller as well. We've talked about how various parts of the team have grown taller, have grown, for instance, have grown younger. The goalkeeping part has grown younger and marginally shorter. The defenders are slightly older, but they're also taller in defense, despite a reduction in the number of players that we had in defense as well. And our midfielders have are also. I thought it was a bit older apparently, but I think I've slightly older, but they're slightly short, slightly younger. Excuse me, slightly younger and slightly shorter as well. But the forward line is just slightly older, but slightly more physical, and in terms of no, quite a bit physically taller as well. Obviously, Woltemade taller than Isak by a considerable margin, and Elanga bigger, stronger than Almiron by a considerable margin as well. Yomi, big up Yomi. You guys scout in the gym group. God bless you, Yomi. Guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe as well. I don't know how many likes I've got at the moment, but I hope we've gone beyond 10. Right. So that's just the physical, that's just the overall part of the team. So we're physically stronger and bigger, and we're physically and we're younger, which is important. Now, going back to again the things that we needed to improve, and a brief review of last season, for the folks that will remember. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to before I get into that, I want to make sure I say hello to a few people. Olu, Yomi, good to see you. Did I miss anything? Any questions? I think I saw something from Aaron. I did, yeah. That move would have been ideal for Osola's development, as Frankfurt know how to make decent strikers. I don't think we should have sanctioned it without another player coming. Yes, exactly. We didn't know if the Wissa deal was going to come through. I like that. But Martin Bland says Osola needs to get the Joe Linton transformation, shifting back or right. He has the physique, played better on the right than anywhere else. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Right. Adrian says Sanusi is a wonderful dribbler. There's potential there. Fingers crossed his loan is better chosen than others. Our players have gone on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So let's review the stuff that we needed to improve around. We're going to talk about our playing style from last year and other things that we needed to improve in the team. And we're going to talk about how the players that we brought in actually going to improve those areas of our team. Right. So actually, let me take off the thingy bobs, the comment, because apologies, I want to see the comment, but I can't see what I was reading. So our play style in general, just a quick overview of our play style, was generally very pragmatic, and it had to be. We were aging, we were aging, we weren't able to buy anyone for free transfer windows. When we talked about it, actually, we would press high up when all players at the same time, and then we'll drop very deep to defend. Like there was no in between. It was very, very, very like pragmatic in that sense. So press, we chose when we press, we really pressed high, and then when we need to drop back, we will literally go back in a low block. There's no in between. There's barely any mid block in how we played as well. We averaged, we had like 50.8%. 50.8% in possession, 10th in the league, so not very mid in terms of that. But we have a very structured approach to our play. We emphasized our build-up play, 2.64 goals from build-ups for us. Typically, we kept a defensive compactness. We had good recovery. We prioritized wire play and defensive solidity over sustained possession or direct counterattacks, reflecting the mid-table possession ranking as well. So the things that we were doing well, Newcastle would excel at. We talked about build-up play. We had really good clinical finishing as well. 66 goals was nothing to sneeze at. We had good. We were decent with our through balls, around 5.86 per game. Our wide play was pretty decent, 432 crosses overall in the league, create consistent chances, effective. Decent-ish possession. Defensively, we would limit high danger opportunities. So, so other teams had a very fairly low GA against us, typically in games. We remained very, very compact when we were in the mid block. And our possession recovery was pretty decent as well, especially in the tackle, 61.3%. And supports supports our transitions into attack. So a very, very pragmatic team, and we had to be, because we were an Asian team, and we had when we had a limited number of players, 15 players who played 1,000 minutes and above. Not to mention a striker who didn't want to be there that we know now. So what did we need to improve? This is again, what did we need to improve at the time? What can they improve in their current form? Newcastle United. This is before the transfer window. So our direct attack output is poor. So 0.11 goals from 2.17 direct attacks. So essentially, we weren't converting our chances from our attacks enough. We also had 1.28 shots ending in turnovers. So, when we did shoot those and when we missed or the goalkeeper punched it out, those chances then became turnovers for the other team. This was low. This became worse because we had a very low possession rate. So oftentimes, and people will remember this, especially when Newcastle got a goal behind, the game would get away from us. We didn't have the ability to be able to control the game via possession, and that showed. So shot quality, so 15.9 yard average distance, and set piece efficiency. We just weren't bad. I think in terms of crosses, I can't remember where we ranked, but crosses, but free kicks, others, we weren't the best. And we've got one of the tallest squads in the league. I don't know how many we've got. How we're not doing better. That's quite annoying, right? We should be doing a little bit better from that as well. So we needed to improve our ability around set pieces. We need also refinement in terms of to be able to spread refinement as does spreading chance creation. So we need more players that be able to who create chances. I think top of the list was around Jacob Murphy, Bruno Gomes at one point, and players like that. We need to be able to have more players to be able to create chances. Defensively, we faced too many shots. When I say too many shots, even though they weren't the greatest of quality, again, we're talking about being able to be the best. So the likes of Arsenal, for instance, on average, they face around 10 to 9 shots per game. Newcastle were facing between 12 to 0.4 shots per game. And that makes it that makes sense because when we defend, we don't have a mid block. We go straight into a low block, right? So then it still gives teams a chance to have a pop at us, yeah. So, and we didn't typically press. And this is due to our moderate press, so we didn't press throughout like we did. When especially in our second season out under Howe, where we really reduced teams' chance creations because we were pressing all the time mostly. And also we were poor in our transition from defense to attack, which surprised me. But the stats are there. It says 1.28 shots ending turnovers from 6.44. So we're good at getting turnovers. Winning the ball up high or in the mid, or winning the ball in our own half. But then turning those attacks into and ending those attacks into shot creations from 6.44, which is a lot, to 1.28. Come on, we can. That means we're gonna have to work extra, and those aren't ended in shots. We're having to work extra hard to be able to get shots off, and that's inefficient, right? And again, low rotation our forward line. I think part of that explains it. And we need to reduce errors in our own game as well. So it would help us to maintain possession in our team. So those are some key areas for us to be able to improve on, be able to create creating actions from turnovers, reduce the amount of shots against us in games, improve our efficiency in front of goals, spread the chance creation amongst the team, also create shots from direct attacks as well, be able to control games via possession a little bit better as well. So a lot of things to be able to improve on and to do better on. We have to, in order to become that elite team. Wobojog says, Phil, when do you expect Ramsdale to get a start ahead of Pope for league games? Great question. I think we're heading into the Champions League now, playing Wolves first, then we've got Champions League, then we're going to got league games again. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in that week or 2 weeks where we're playing, 2-3 games a week. That period, that very, very busy period that's coming up. So I expect Ramsdale to start coming in. Probably even I can't remember we're playing Bradford. We're playing Bradford for the League Cup as well. I expect Ramsdale to start that game as well. So yeah, he'll definitely get his shot. Right. So we talked about the things that we were good at. We talked about the things that we needed to improve, but especially focusing on the things that we needed to improve. We talked about that. So are those players, and also just to add further to that, why these things are important. So for instance, the elite teams, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Arsenals, Newcastle often rank just below these teams in most attacking metrics like XG and big chances created, right? So that's why we have to, even though if there's things we're decent at, we have to continue to improve on them. The elite teams are doing that, so we can't afford to go back. Hence our investment into the forward line areas. We lagged significantly in possession and higher volume passing. I think that is by design and us being very pragmatic and having to be. I expect for that to improve this year. However, we do compete directly with those elite teams in defensive efficiency, our clean sheets, our XG conceded, so chances conceded, and surpass them in defensive discipline, fouls and cards, which is, I don't think Olu would agree with that, but that's the case. That is the case. So yeah, that's the areas that I want us, being able to compete with those elite teams in attacking areas, in our possession, in our possession, in our volume passes. Especially if we want to get to a better place, especially if we want to become an elite team, we're going to have to improve in those areas. So, are the players that we brought in going to be able to help us do that? Aaron Ramsdale, Malick Thiaw, Jacob Ramsey, Anthony Elanga, Nick Woltemade, and Mr. Wissa, Yoanne Wissa. Are these the players going to help us to improve? Going to help us to get to that elite level that we need to get to? Let's talk about it. Right. So let me see, just in case I missed anything in the chat first. No, I didn't. So let's do it. Let's talk about these guys. So I'm not gonna be able to do. I'm gonna do like a whistle stop tour because with some of these guys we've done profiles on. I'm gonna give an overview of them overall, right? So do feel free to go back if you've got time to do the video and kind of read some of this stuff as well. But I'm gonna do a whistle stop tour. So Aaron Ramsdale, for instance, I kind of we looked at his FB ref stats, put it on the old AI, and figured out where the strengths and weaknesses are compared to Pope. Is exceptional shot stopper, reflexes formidable. So conclusion. So between, so if you compare Pope to him, Pope is the elite shot stopper with exceptional reflexes. Although obviously we all know that he's less comfortable on the ball. Mr. Ramsdale, superior distribution on the ball, composure, highly comfortable playing out from the back. Exactly what we need if we want to be a possession-based team. A goalkeeper who can initiate attacks. He's also vocal and very quick to get off his line. He's a very, very good sweeper keeper. Although he has been criticized for his lack of concentration, and we all know that part of him as well. Pope is more of a traditional reactive goalkeeper whose game is built on shot stopping. Ramsdale is a modern proactive ball-playing goalkeeper. He might not be the goalkeeper of everybody's choice, but he is a modern-day goalkeeper. and he is good at shot stopping and aerial dominance. He excels in a system that values defensive solidity and a high defensive line. Now, we value this defensive solidity. The defensive line part is the part that we're going to have to, I think we're going to see an improvement on at least this year. So in conclusion, the choice between them is a tactical one. And I think this is an indicator of where Newcastle are heading to. Pope is better safety first goalkeeper, offering elite shot stopping and a commanding presence. Ramsdale is a specialist in possession-based football. An area that Newcastle needs to improve is our possession, providing the superior distribution and composure that a modern build from the back system requires, which is what Newcastle, even last year, when we weren't the greatest possession, we structured our team on build-up play. We're very, very good at that. Cynical Jim says, Aaron Cape says, on goalkeepers, City paid 28 million for Donnarumma, and we were going to pay higher for Trafford. I think that's a bullet dodged. I don't disagree. Cynical Jim says Wissa scored just as many goals from open play as Isak, and he's Wilson's replacement. So I'm hoping for more goals from him and Woltemade than Isak and Wilson. Yes, and I think Bobby Fairview showed me like the conversion rate. Wissa's isn't too far from Isak's either. Martin Bland says, I just hope they play as a duo. They both played with a second striker. Either may struggle up top by themselves. I would love to see that, by the way. I think that'd be really, really good. So Ramsdale, in my opinion, is definitely an upgrade on the Bafcon. Is he an upgrade on Pope? That does remain to be seen, but I think the intention is there. He's a modern ball-playing goalkeeper with good reflexes, good shot stopping, and I think I think there's every chance he will excel in a better team with a better defensive line, with a better defensive structure, of which Newcastle United are one. Malick Thiaw. Now I compared this is the conclusion I had from Malick Thiaw. If you guys remember, we compared Malick Thiaw to what's the Italian player that we talked, Scalvini. And we wanted to see who's a better partner, defensive partner for Mr. Botman. And it turned out to be that Malick Thiaw is the better partner. This is the reason why. So Malick Thiaw will be the best defensive partner for Sven Botman at Newcastle United. Their complementary strengths in progressive passing and tackling. So Thiaw 73.7% and Botman at 78.6%. Really good at tackling players. Great, well-rounded defensive partnership. Both players physically and both players physicality we talked about earlier. Our overall physicality is improved. Both players' physicality and ball-playing ability align well with cohesive backline, minimizing weaknesses and maximizing defensive stability. And Aaron Ramsdale will be very, very happy about that. I'm talking about Scalvini, while he's consistent, has a weaker tackling profile, making him less ideal for Botman. So that's where you see the key improvements there. And I think also Thiaw is ambidextrous and he can play in the left back area or on the left side of the midfield. So even though we've sold Target, I think they're thinking that Malick Thiaw could also play in the left area as well. And maybe Dan Burn can breathe a sigh of relief because he wouldn't have to do it himself. Wobojog says, Phil, looking at this list, I can only consider Ramsdale and Woltemade to help the possession evolution. Okay. Ramsey and the defender neutral. The rest are more of the same transition-oriented approach. Or maybe we're trying to keep a balance. I don't think we're going to go right into being a defensive team. We do still have our strength as being a transition team. And I think if you can do both, if you can harness both, you stand a better chance of winning games. And I wouldn't be surprised if we try to get him. And I think people talked about it earlier, us being able to get an attacking midfielder. I think if we were able to get that attacking midfielder, maybe that would have crossed that line for you and for me, really, around being a better possession team as well. Martin Bland says, Thiaw and Botman were Maldini's ideal pair. He really tried to sign Botman for Milan. Exactly. And if it's good for Maldini, it is good for me. Davey says, let's hope it all comes together. Absolutely. So we've done Ramsdale, we've done Thiaw. And I don't know if folks will remember this. We also talked about, here we go. We also talked about Jacob Ramsey. We did an in-depth view on Jacob Ramsey because we compared him to our midfield. Why is Eddie Howe looking at Jacob Ramsey? And so we compared his profile to Willock, because got down that Mr. Ramsey will play in the left 8 position. So we compared him to Willock, and we compared him to Joe Linton. When we compare him to Willock, for instance, again, why is Ramsey better than Willock? I'll go straight down to that, which is Willock's stats show he's less involved in progressive play. So 3.16 progressive passes and 1.39 progressive carries per 90. So roughly 3 progressive passes. So passing it from midfield, for instance, to the attack. Progressive carries, carrying the ball from the midfield to the attack. All right, he does that nearly twice in the game. Progressive passing nearly 3 times in the game. Versus Ramsey, who is at 6.21 progressive passes, nearly twice the number of Willock, and 2.37 progressive carry. So he is far more, in some areas, twice as much in terms of output, in terms of his progressive carries and passes. He has fewer. Willock has fewer touches, so 44.1 to Ramsey's 42.7, going back to what I think Robojog was saying. So they're not too far apart from that. Again, I wonder if that's down to Villa's playing style. So this indicates he doesn't contribute much in the build-up or ball progression or versatility across phases of play, focusing more on the attacking third. Hold on, let me take off. I'll bring back the things in the comments in a moment. So I can't see what's saying at the bottom. So this indicates he doesn't contribute as much to build up ball progression or versatility across phases of play. Willock, focusing more on attacking third actions. So 3.07 shot creating actions and live passes rather than a well-rounded midfield presence, of which Mr. Ramsey is one. So Ramsey is a far more rounded player. Now, Jacob Ramsey compared to Joe Linton. The main difference between Jacob Ramsey and Joe Linton is that Ramsey is more of a playmaker compared to Joe Linton. He's focused on progression and creativity, while Joe Linton is more physical, all-action midfielder with a better goal involvement and defensive presence. And so when you got Joe Lintons, your Tonalis, we know that Bruno can do everything. I think Eddie Howe wanted, and Willock to a lesser extent, I think Eddie Howe wanted a more progressive, a more playmaking, a more creative left 8. And we know obviously of which Ramsey is one, and he has a different profile compared to the midfield that we've already got. And we know that he's got that chemistry with Gordon as well, that has produced goals for England as well. And we're hoping to see that for Newcastle United. So is Ramsey better than who do we have? Than Willock? Yeah, I think he is. So already the floor is raised. Is he going to be better than Joe Linton? Big question mark over that. He's going to have to prove himself 100%. 100%. Right. Elanga and Jacob Murphy. Elanga and Jacob Murphy. We compared them before, and going straight into the summary, Elanga's key strengths over Murphy lie in his goal scoring, his shooting volume, his ball progression, and set piece involvement. And this goes directly to the earlier problem that we were talking about, that Newcastle needed to get better at set pieces, right? Making him a more direct and dynamic. Let me take this off. Is it going to go off? Yeah, making him more direct and dynamic attacking threat. And that's what we want to also be, more efficient in front of goal. Murphy excels in assistant playmaking. I know that Bobby Fairview loves Murphy as well, so he might not appreciate this part. But it's good to have players. Again, it indicates strength and depth in the team. Murphy excels in assisting, playmaking, passing involvement, defensive work rate, and clinical finishing, fitting a more well-rounded winger role in the Newcastle system. So, is Elanga better than Almiron? Yes, he is. I don't even have to get Almiron stats to be able to prove that. Is he better than Jacob Murphy? In some areas, yes. In some areas, no. Let's see how he does over the season, right? So again, another useful purchase for Newcastle United, in my opinion. Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Right. Yoanne Wissa versus Alexander Isak. We're not going to compare Wissa to Callum Wilson because Callum Wilson was never there. Right. So, God bless Alan. I'm happy he scored for us down the other day, but he wasn't there. So, I'm going to just go straight to Isak, right? Kim Cam, good to see you. God bless you. Villa fan, good to see you. God bless you as well. Welcome to the show, folks. So, key strengths and weaknesses, right? So, Wissa's key strength is his elite movement, position in the box, leading to a high goal return. And remember, as people have pointed out, they both got the same amount of goals from non-penalties, right? He's a more clinical finisher with a good, I don't know if it's more clinical finisher. I think the conversion rate is higher on Isak's with good strikes on both feet. Possesses power, pace, power, and an excellent work rate, making him effective at pressing. Although he has weaknesses, obviously not a primary target man for winning long balls, so don't send him any long balls. That's what Woltemade does. Well, even Woltemade doesn't like that either. Has a lower rate of shot creating actions, suggesting he is more of a finisher than a creator, right? So Isak can create chances for himself. Isak is, jumped ahead there. Right, Isak is a technically gifted and well-rounded forward who combines physical presence with high skill. Excellent at creating space for himself as well as chances, really. Strong dribbler. Excellent, in my opinion, who can beat defenders. We all know that, right? Playing style. Yoanne Wissa is more of a prolific and intelligent goal scorer who thrives on movement and positioning within the penalty area. A bit like Callum Wilson, really, isn't it? Well, Callum Wilson's supposed to be for us. Again, directing his style, focus on getting dangerous positions and finishing chances, which is what we could have done with that against Leeds and against Liverpool, against who's the team we played at the beginning of the season? Villa, right? The Elanga chance in the first, 10, 15 minutes, I think Wissa puts that away. No offense to Elanga. And he's a hard-working player. You don't get into the team if you're not a hard-working player, right? Mr. Isak is a modern, complete forward, versatile, excellent dribbling. So, conclusion: both are high-quality strikers. They offer different profiles. Wissa is a proven high-volume goal scorer and a relentless presser, best suited for a team that needs a clinical finisher. Newcastle United. Isak is more complete and technically gifted. Oh gosh, is more complete and a technically gifted forward who contributes more to the overall build-up and is a nightmare for defenders. His movement and his choice between them. So the choice between them depends on the tactical need of the team. So I think if Newcastle are playing with Yoanne Wissa, he's not there to create, to be, dropping deep. He can do that. He's been doing it with in Wemmer, but not in a sense of not to do what Woltemade is going to do. What Woltemade and both Isak can do is drop deep and create chances. They can dribble. They can lay off. They can, they create chances themselves and well as their teammates. Mr. Wissa is the guy at the end of those chances who creates goals as well. So I think speaking to people earlier, yes, I agree that Woltemade and Wissa, once they get going, will be playing more often with each other. So, is Wissa better than Callum Wilson? Yes, just for the fact that he's available, right? Some of us might be better than Wilson, we're available. Is he an upgrade on Isak? There's not many players in the world, unless you're Haaland and Mbappe and a few others I can't think of straight away, who are better than Isak, right? Can Woltemade be better than Isak? That is something that's going to be outstanding. And speaking of Woltemade, We're going to get into that in a moment. Aaron Kemp says, concern with Wissa, he isn't going to get the space he did at Brentford on the counter, and I don't feel Elanga has the quality to feed him like Mbuemo did. I hope I get proven wrong. Oh, that is something worth keeping an eye on. I think he can. I think we can overcome that. I think we've got a better setup than Brentford as well. Good to see my guy Mitch here as well. God bless you. Evening chat, evening Philip, sir. Missed the start, but we'll catch that tomorrow. Thank you. Always a blessing to have Mr. Mitch here. We've got 30 here. I don't know how many likes we've got, folks. I hope we've got up to 20, honestly, guys. I hope we're there, like with the 20 guys, right? Or like at least, let's get that conversion rate. We've been talking about conversion rate. We've got Wissa up here. We're going to have Woltemade. They've both got some high conversion rates. Let's reflect the conversion rate. Let's get the likes a lot more closer to the views. Let's get that conversion rate up. And as always, folks, somebody said it earlier, I need to get water. Give me 1 minute and I'll get some water and I'll be right back. And we're going to talk about Woltemade. We are going to talk about Woltemade in a moment. But just give me a jiffy. I'm going to get some water. Right. So we're back after our break. We've got 26 likes. Phenomenal. Very, very good. We're on our way to 30. That conversion rate is looking good. Looking very, very good. Right. Woltemade. Let's talk about the cherry on top of this window. Mr. Woltemade. Right. So we talked about him before. We talked about him last show, actually, right? So we compared, obviously, for the folks that remember, we compared Woltemade now, obviously a young man that's just turned 23. We compared him to Isak when he was a young man that turned 23 in his first year at Newcastle United, right? So rather than comparing him to Isak now, we compared Woltemade to Isak back then when he was 23 years old to see. I think gives us a better chance to see what Newcastle see in Woltemade and the potential there. And I think it's a better way to compare the two as well. Adrian said, I need a water carrier. God bless you, absolutely. So what conclusion did we come up with? So at 23, in the 24-25 season, Woltemade is at a similar stage at Isak at 23 in 22-23 season. Isak is in his full season at Newcastle United. He scored 11 goals while adapting from La Liga, showing early promise. Woltemade in this year scored 12 goals with a similar minutes in competitive Bundesliga. Matches Isak's output with added versatility in passing and defense. That is Woltemade. However, Isak's trajectory improved significantly due to Newcastle United and Mr. Eddie Howe. Significantly from that first year, suggesting faster finishing development. So Woltemade's broader skill set is ahead of Isak's at this stage. So he has but he needs to refine his goal scoring efficiency to reach Isak's current elite level. With Newcastle support, Woltemade has the potential to progress, especially if he adapts to the Premier League, and that's to the Premier League demands, and that's going to be the key figure. But at this stage, Woltemade and Isak, if they were both to meet, they're at the same time, at the same age, there's not much choice between them. Now, Woltemade is a Newcastle, and I think he's in the better Newcastle as well, if we're talking about teams and squads. So, is Woltemade better than Callum Wilson? Yes. The floor's raised with both Wissa and with Woltemade. Is he better than Isak? He's not better than Isak. Is he better than Isak at the same stage of his career? They're about the same. They're about the same, in my point of view, right? Mitch says, I feel these two will fill the goal output. I agree. That has been left by that number 14 guy. Less special moments, but more goals, I feel. Even though I think Woltemade will still give us special moments. I do too. But there's no hiding and there's no lying from the fact that Isak produced some absolutely special moments as well. Let's see what Woltemade can do. Let's see. The stage is set, and he has the team around him, and definitely the manager and the people around him to be able to do that. Right. So, did I get there? Right. So, what I try to do is put together all these players together and see, do they answer or do they address the concerns that we had about the squad from last season, especially pertaining to playing style. We already know, because we've looked at before, that overall the team is younger, the team is physically taller and more robust. We have more players. We know quantity. We have more players. We're going to have better squad rotation as well. That's what I anticipate will happen. And but do we address the problems from last year? So better goal efficiency, better ability to be to control the ball, and have possession, a better use of turnovers and creating actions, better direct shot creating actions from direct attacks as well. A better ability defensively also to reduce further shots against the team as well, and better at set pieces. A lot of key areas for us to improve, right? So have these signings made a difference, right? And so obviously I put all these guys together, put them into. We've talked about them individually, and essentially put it on the old AI as well, and put it all together with a profile of the talk, and we're talking with you guys and putting it all together and trying to see where we're at. So on paper, we can only talk about it on paper thus far, right? So, and this is the response that we got. So on paper, there's a Newcastle United on paper are a direct and well thought out response to specific weaknesses, right? And I can't see because my name's up there. Each player has been brought in to address particular issues from goalkeeping to attack, demonstrating a clear and effective transfer strategy on what they can improve. And obviously, if you guys remember, 3 to 4 months ago, we talked about the areas that Newcastle need to improve. Here is a signing that we made. Obviously, we talked about Ramsdale, modern day goalkeeper, can help us. So the analysis notes that Newcastle, obviously, we had difficulty in possession-based games and need to reduce errors. I know that Ramsdale isn't always related to that, but he is here. Ramsdale's key strength is his superior on the ball composure and distribution, right? To Pope, undoubtedly. His signing directly improves Newcastle's ability to play out from the back and maintain control. That's where our possession comes from, which is essential given their lower possession stats. He provides the high-quality alternative to Pope, whose weaknesses include on the ball, thereby addressing the key area of refinement. So that's one area already ticked off, is around being able to play out from the back, to maintain possession, and to gain control over matches. Jacob Ramsey. The team before struggled to break down low block defenses, inefficiency in creating chances from direct attacks. We talked about that. And a lack of creative spread. So only really Bruno and Jacob Murphy. And to a lesser extent, what's his name? Lewis Hall, but Lewis Hall got injured. So we need more players to be creative. Ramsey is a progressive, dynamic midfielder who excels at ball progression, and chance creation. He provides the creativity and technical ability in tight spaces that the current midfield lacks, which helps to unlock stubborn defenses and reduce reliance on wide play alone. So we'll see that, but his stats show that. Anthony Elanga's winger forward, obviously, the analysis points to poor direct attack output and the lack of refinement and set piece efficiency. This is for the team last year. Elanga his strength is in goal scoring threat. He has a higher shooting volume. He is superior in goal involvement in set piece situations, and he directly addresses. He directly addresses the need for better direct attacking output and set piece efficiency, adding a more lethal threat from wide areas. And I understand people feel that that needs to be proven, and I don't disagree. Martin Bland says Elanga and Ramsey are rotation players for me. The rest improve the first team options. I pick Murphy over Elanga and Joe Linton over Ramsey every day of the week. So that's fair. They've got to prove it. Yoanne Wissa and Nick Woltemade. So the most critical area for improvement is the direct attack for us. Direct attack output. An over-reliance on a single striker after Isak's departure. So do Newcastle become better because we're not relying so much on one striker? The signing of Wissa and Woltemade directly solved this. Wissa is a clinical finisher, we talked about it, and a consistent goal scorer who can immediately improve the team's direct attack output and shot quality. Woltemade, a younger forward of similar goal output and a broader skill set, adds a crucial depth and competition, ensuring the attack remains dangerous even if the main striker is unavailable. And that's very, very key. Between Woltemade and Wissa, we have quality and depth and quality, absolutely, right? As a combination, they can, as Mitch said, they can match, I believe, Isak's output as well. Jack says, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show, Jack. God bless you. First time here, looks like a very thorough look at each transfer. Sounds fun. Thank you, Jack. I really appreciate that. And welcome. Guys, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Look what happens, guys. When you like, share, and subscribe, you get the show out there. We've got new people coming on, which is absolutely phenomenal. Defensively, Malick Thiaw. So the analysis mentions, and this is obviously previous analysis we did for the team, Thiaw provides stability and quality of depth, complementing Botman. Again, this is the Maldini partnership, his chosen partnership. From transition from defense to attack. Again, able to help us to control our ability to play from the back. He's a highly rated central midfielder. Thiaw provides stability and quality of depth to Botman's progressing pass, impacting, implementing. Someone's in the way there. Botman's progressive passing. His presence can help the team absorb pressure from more effectively, potentially reducing number of shots they face, which is another area we need to fix. He's a stronger, more cohesive defense. Cohesive defense also leads to more efficient transitions. So he's very good with both his feet in line-breaking passes. And as errors are reduced and the ball is won more cleanly. So, in conclusion, the signings made by Newcastle United on paper so far, it has to be proven on the pitch. Let me take this off so I can read it properly. So in conclusion, the signings made by Newcastle United on paper are a direct and well thought out response. I like that. Some people might look at it the other way and say it's been panic buying. We've been rejected by so many players. We're getting our third and fourth choices. Isak twisted our arm and we had to get players that we didn't want to. We were in panic buying. There's that side of the argument. The other side of the argument is, in conclusion, the signings made by Newcastle United on paper are a direct and well thought out response to the specific weaknesses identified in the analysis. Each player, things gone off there. Each player has been brought to address a particular issue. We talked about that. From goalkeeping to attack, and I can't see the rest of it, they all demonstrate something along the lines of our transfer strategy. So, if you put all this together, and I don't disagree, we did the individual, profiling for a lot of these players. We talked about, like I said, 3-4 months about the areas of the team, from the defense to the attack, from Ramsdale to Woltemade. I think from the overall view of our team, physically and in age, I think the players that we've brought in do provide an overall quality and an overall improvement in our team. I think we have made good buys. We've made good sells as well, but we have made good buys, and I think buys that will take the team forward, in my opinion. I think we have had a successful transfer window in that sense as well, in terms of the players that we brought in. But that's what I think. Let me know. I want to know what you guys think, though. I know that I've already got some people's views as well. So it's great to have that. And that's what's important as well. So let me see what the folks are saying. What are your views? Do you think the buys that we've made, the 6 players that we've brought in, have made a difference to the squad? Obviously, I think we have. I think it's been money well spent on paper thus far. Jack says, first time here this. Oh, I read that. Sorry, I read that. El Capo, good to see you. God bless you. Wissa will score more goals than 14 Whiskers. Whiskers died last season, and he will play every game, not like broken toe. Yeah, I like that. Aaron Kame says, in build-up, Bruno is our main outlet. Yes, in terms of progression from deep. And Lewis Hall, when Lewis Hall plays, that changes up as well. So Bruno, Lewis Hall are the main outlet. I wonder if Tonali becomes that a little bit more as well, but certainly last year, Lewis Hall and Bruno. Botman and Hall help with this. Oh, you actually said that. Sorry, Aaron. You actually said Botman and Hall help with this. They do. This is why Hall is so important. Need multiple outlets to stop us being predictable. I agree with that 1000%, Aaron. Kim Cam says many people forget that Isra was a product of our adventure. I mean, our team journey, style, passion, and what we are about. Aaron Kemp says, the thing to be excited about is we now have headroom to improve the team for the next few windows with no worries about PSR. And we're going to talk about PSR in a moment as well. Martin Bland says, I'd estimate us having a good 200 million in the kitty for January. Do you think we'll go back in January? It's a difficult month to buy players, and everybody knows we've got money, but I'm not against it. El Capo says, will Wissa retire from international football before January? I think he will. Adrian Pickett says, I'm very upbeat about the transfer window. So am I. This is talking about it with you guys. The first time I actually got to enjoy it, talking about our players, talking about it. It's been absolutely refreshing to be able to say, yes, it's been a good window. Jack says, the tactical flexibility element. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I missed that. The tactical flexibility element needs to be talked about. Let me know, Jack. Emphasize on that. Give me a specific and we'll talk about it. Absolutely. I don't disagree. We had to be a very practical team last season. And I think the players that we've brought in will help us be more tactically flexible. If you're talking about whether being a if we want to be more possession based, if we want to make in-game changes and stuff like that, we do that a lot of our formation, for instance, as well. Yeah, I think we've got the players to have that. Let me know if you think so, Jack. Bobby Fairview says, sorry, Philip, been distracted. How can you be distracted? This is Toon Tactics TV. What's the conclusion on how Eddie Howe can solve more creativity from midfield? I think the main one is what Aaron Ramsey, I was going to call it Aaron Ramsey, Jacob Ramsey. He does possess a lot of creative metrics around progressive passes, progressive carries, over, for instance, the likes of Joe Willock, Joe Linton, for instance, Joe Linton especially is a more robust type all-action midfielder, right? And compared to them, Ramsey's more of a playmaker and creator. He's also got that partnership with Gordon through the international duties as well. So there is, at least on paper, the thought that he can help us unlock low blocks and help us to be more creative from a midfield point of view. But also, if you look at the fact that we've got Ramsey, a ball-playing goalkeeper, and obviously when you bring back Hall and the rest of them, our ability to play out from the back gets a lot better. So you have Hall, Botman, Ramsey, Ramsdale, all with the ability to help us to build up from the back, in a way that allows us to be more offensive from our midfielders areas. You've also got Chow, from the likes of Chow and Botman and others, who do like a line breaking pass or two as well, which allows us to be more offensive, not just from the midfield area, but from the defensive line as well. So again, on paper, there is those areas that, in terms of being able to solve creativity, we have that, at least on paper. I do agree, though, we would have benefited from a modern 10 midfielder. Can Ramsey become that player? He puts him. He's I think that remains outstanding. But also, Woltemade, he loves to drop in. He loves to be a creative force as well. So I think you would have a bit of him as well doing that. And he's very good in tight space as well. Back to goal, he's decent as well. So there is every opportunity for us to be better from the creative midfield areas as well. So, but yeah, let me know what you think about that, Mr. Fairview. Did I miss something? No, I didn't. Warburg says, footballing, they can in theory sustain you for another Champions League season. Financial not great because premium to you have to pay to get talent, but also late business is Wissa fee. Age ratio isn't great. Have I missed something? Footballing, they can sustain you from another Champions League season. Is that from the financial point of view? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about that. Not great because premium to you have to. People will go for the premium. Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we've got a sporting director and others to help us work on business, getting business done as early as possible and as quietly as possible as well. Age ratio isn't great. I don't disagree. But for this season, it's fine. For this season, Mr. Wissa is at the peak of his powers. And I think that's what we need at the moment. We bought some players and we were fighting relegation that were only good for that season, like Matt Target and Chris Wood. They were good for that season, but we didn't get relegated. So if Wissa gets us to that second Champions League in a row and doesn't do anything else after that, I think we'll be okay, in my opinion. Martin Bland says maybe that's short-sighted. I don't know, but I think that'll be okay. I'll give a couple more minutes and then we'll go to the financial side because we're talking about it a lot. Martin Bland says, I'm more excited about Woltemade than probably should be. He may well be a superstar in the making, but not had that feeling about a player for years. Fingers crossed he may be a No, I can't wait to see him play. If there's a player I'm really excited to see play, is Woltemade. I'm actually, it's going to be funny to say this, but I'm actually also excited to see Ramsdale. I just need to see us. I just need to see what it's like to have a goal. Well, I saw it live, obviously, when I was watching us play against Espanyol in the preseason game. But I need to see it. I need to see it in the live game in the Premier League. Aaron says, I do feel our attacking patterns are really predictable at this moment. Nothing has changed in terms of the triangles and overloads. It'd help if we can do this faster, but I'd like more centrally. I agree. I think once Lewis Hall comes back in, that helps with that tremendously. And obviously, once Ramsey gets a run of games, we've got every opportunity to do that as well. And the introduction of Woltemade will become a little bit more unpredictable. Jack says, it's going to be interesting to see what Eddie and Jason can cook up now that we have all these new signings. With respect, Eddie is still making the best out of what he has given. Up to this point, yes. Now I think not necessarily he has a embarrassment of riches, but he is rich with talent. I'll say that. I think so. I think so. Martin Bland says, last time I got that buzz was at St. Maximum signing and was magical for a little while. He was. I think anybody, those are just dreary times. So, but yeah, absolutely. Jack says Eddie has his signings through the door. Ramsdale, Thiaw, Elanga, Wissa, Ramsey, and Nick Voldemade is a player with a profile he wanted. Has Eddie got something up his sleeve we haven't seen yet? Great question. I would like to think he does. I would definitely like to think he does. Kim Count says, I can wait to see the Vault putting the ball in the net. We could have a new hero. Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. All right. So let's get on to the second part of the show. And it's key in terms of the financial part, because we want to be able to rate this window properly. We want to be able to say, was this window an outstanding success? So far, in terms of, again, on paper, from what I can see, from what I've seen of our team, I do think the players that we've brought in, the players that we've sold, so far, we're having a successful window, a quietly successful window, in my opinion. The team is younger, the team is taller and physically more imposing. We have addressed through the players that we've brought in, at least on paper, the issues that we've had previously. And I think it's also going to have a ripple effect on our squad rotation and others. I think from just looking at from the players that we've got at the moment, again, 15 players played 1,000 minutes or more. That's partly because Botman was injured and Mileage didn't get a look in. I think that changes the season. That brings up to 17. Isak got, in terms of the the players that played regularly for us that get sold, Isak and Longstaff got sold, so that brings it back down to 15 again. But then we've brought in and obviously the Dubravka as well. But we've brought in the Ramsdale, so it stays at 15. We've brought in Jacob Ramsey. Goes back to 16. We've brought in Anthony Elanga, 17. We've brought in Nick Voldemade and Yoanne Wissa. Obviously, took off Wissa, so we've got 15. We'll go back to 17. And we've got Malick Thiaw, so 18. So by my count, we've gone from, maybe I've got that wrong, but I don't think I have. But I think from maybe I hope I haven't. From my count, I think we'll have a better squad rotation, at least 18. At least 18, going up 3 from 15 from last year. Maybe 19, but I think definitely 18. So far, so good. So let's talk about the finances. Let's talk about the finances. Let me know, folks, if you like the thumbnail. Again, from the folks that were here before, we did a review of our finances previously. So I'm going to kind of go forward. Where last time, again, I did my armchair analysis. We used Swiss Ramble. we use Newcastle's finances, we use a bit of AI to put it all together because we wanted to be able to guess or to estimate what our transfer window, the transfer window just gone, would look like, right? And how much money would, that we estimated that we need to spend around 180 million pounds, for instance. So what would that mean? Did we even have 180 million pounds? Would we be able to spend it, right? We knew we had a revenue of 320 million. We knew that we had Champions League qualification. We knew that we estimated that, I think, for the players that we needed to bring in. So I think we needed to bring in 5 players. Where is it? Yeah, about 5 players. We would need about 180 million to be able to spend that, to be able to get that. And it wasn't too far from that, actually. I can't remember what the overall spend. Was it 180, 90 million euros, something like that? We'll need to improve our wages at the time of Isak was staying. So I thought 250 would be enough. It wasn't enough. So, and suffice to say, on Isak, obviously that turned everything around. Spoiler alert, obviously, the finances in a very good order. And we probably wouldn't need to, I would imagine we don't need to increase the wages to the point that we needed to. I think we still need to because of loyalty from other players. But we also need to, we wouldn't need to increase to what we needed. We would have had to do it. I thought we would have had to sell Sean Longstaff, which we did, Harvey Barnes, because I thought we needed to at least save 25 million to be able to be with PSR. Based on my previous estimates, we would have needed to save at least 25 million in wages and to be able to sell at least between 66 million to 75 million players in sales if we're going to buy 180 million, 5 players for 180 million pounds and get the wages up. So to get the wages up, to buy 5 players, to spend 180 million, I thought we'd have to at least sell 66 to 75 million worth of players and to shave off at least 25.74 million in wages. Now, all of that's now scattered out the window because Isak changed all of that. Or the Isak sale changed all of that, right? And instead, that's the players that we were rumored to have. This is again before the transfer window. João Pedro, we know what happened there. Elanga is at Newcastle. Gahey still at Palace. Oh, jeez. JK, he's still at Palace. Palace are wild, man. And Jacob Ramsey, obviously we've got him, and Trafford. We know what happened to Trafford. And we made some estimates around what we needed to do, that we'd have to like double their wages and stuff like that. I talked about, I thought that it was a high likelihood that we'd sell Barnes. Obviously, still here. We saw Sean last. We did sell him. We would sell Joe Willock. That didn't happen. I think we should have. We'd sell Pope. We sold the Bracker instead. And we'd sell Target. And he's obviously now on loan to Middlesbrough. I thought there would be a medium chance for the likes of, for instance, Kieran Trippier to be sold. He's still here. And I thought there'd be a low chance, not of Bruno specifically, but a blue chip player going. The blue chip player did go, and that was Isak. So, and that changed significantly. That's changed everything that we've talked about before for Newcastle United. So, how has it changed it? Let's talk about it. So obviously we've brought in, as I mentioned, a whole load of players, and we've sold a whole load of players. I need to take off this sign so I can see. Because I can see the estimates from here. Everything, my label's in the way. It's so annoying. So yeah, we spent. Oh no, we spent. Oh, it's total market value of arrivals. So the arrivals is 195. This is in euros. 195 million euros, 195.38 in euros in terms of the market value of the players that we of the players that we brought in. So what's 195 million in euros? Let me just quickly calculate on Google. What's 195 million? What is 195 million euros in pounds. 169 million pounds. Okay, so it's 10 million off. That's not too bad. That is not too bad. So we spent 170 million pounds. And in terms of the players sold, I can't see it on the thing, for instance, because my thingy's in the way. So let me just, how much did we make in terms of players sold? We made total market of departures. No, it can't be 180 million. I think it's including Matt Target and people like that. No, we made, if we add 144 million euros of Isak to 17 million euros of Kelly, that'll be 154, 161, and 30 million euros, 171, 174 million euros, 174 million euros. So what's 174 million euros? 151 million pounds. So 170 million pounds spent and 150 million pounds made through player sales. I've disturbed the cable. Can you guys not hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. But we've spent about 170 million pounds, and we've sold around 160 million pounds how much? 150 million pounds in player sales. Lads, let me know if you can hear me. Oh, yeah, I'm good now, yeah? Thank you, yeah. So that's what I was saying. So in pounds, if you convert, we made on the euros, it's around 100. Jackson's 249 million pounds spent. Let me see. Is transfer market deceiving me? Let me get the old calculator out. Is transfer market deceiving me? Because I'm looking at the totals on transfer market. Calculator. You might be right. Let's see. 85 plus 61.4 plus 57.7 plus 45.15 plus 35 plus I'll say 4.6 for the loan fee. I didn't do it in millions. Yeah, it must be more than that because that's yeah. So why does it say total market value of market value? That's transferwindow.com's market value. You're right. Sorry. Yes. Let me do that again. So it's 288 million pounds. You're right, Jack. Thank you for that. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You got 249 spent. I was looking because transfer window has its own yeah, Bobby can do it at the top of his head. I bet he's shaking his head right now thinking, what kind of mathematics is this? So if I look at the actual sum, which is 288.85 million euros, according to transfermarket.com. So 288.8 million euros in pounds. So yeah, 251 million pounds. And I think Jack had 248, 249. So not too far, right? So what did we get in terms of, so how much did we spend in terms of, how much did we get in terms of departures? Some 175 million euros, 175 million euros. So 150 million pounds in sales, which is much better. Makes sense. Thanks for that, Jack. So 84 million net. Okay, yeah, so 84 million minus 84 million net. Okay. So very good. In terms of sales and in terms of compared to player purchase. Way better than what we did before. Trust me. So there's an improvement there. Right. So let's talk about it. A whole load of stuff here written down. Where is it? I've lost my scene. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So, what does it mean for the financial future in terms of what Newcastle are doing? Oof. I found it, or I lost it. I think I've lost it again. Can you guys hear me? Someone said check your mic. Jack said check your mic. Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Someone in the chat, let me know if you can hear me, and I will get onto it. Audio issues. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Bobby says better now, but your ears are bleeding. I'm scared now because Bobby's here for the financials. I'm like, oh my days. Right. So this is just a projection. So obviously we're in the Champions League. We made last year 320 million in euros. So this is like my projection for this coming summer window, right? For not coming summer window, for the next summer window, where I think our revenue will go up to 360 million. Some might feel that's a bit conservative, maybe it's, or maybe balanced, but we've been going up quite significantly recently. So it's a bit crunchy, but you can still hear me. So I'm saying I'm all good now. Okay. So some of this stuff is essentially based on that. So how can Newcastle win big with 360 million pounds? So that's where the 360 million comes from. My projection. It's my own projection. I think Newcastle, for the revenue next season, Newcastle will declare like it's going to be 360 million, from ad their sales, Champions League, stuff like that. So that's my kind of estimation. So just to say straight away, safe, spoiler alert, we're safe in terms of the PSR so far when it comes to the 105 million loss over a 3-year period, thanks to the Alexander Isak sale of 100 and, I don't know, it's 125, 130 million. Sean Longstaff sells, Lloyd Kelly, and also kind of, and as a result of that, from what is kind of been estimated, we can probably spend around 250 million pounds on players, on wages as well, and keep ourselves within the 70% of the, I think it's PSR. I can't remember what the UEFA one is, but wages to, is it revenue to wages? Wages to revenue? Bobby says, I'm here, ready to order. I got you playing in the background. Thanks, Bobby. I need it. I definitely need you for that. And so, yeah, so we're definitely safe in terms of that versus the obviously like 23, 24 where we weren't doing so well. So our spending power has increased as a result of all of that, right? So, and again, with the projected 360 million plus the 100 million and plus the headroom from Isak sell, Newcastle can spend between 200 to 250 million pounds on new players in a 2026 period without selling. Now, you want to sell, right? But without selling, you can do it. But the key thing is to make it last as long as possible. So to continue selling, right? So we can spend money and staying safe within PSR. So an example of that would be, we spent 80 million for a striker, 70 million for a winger, 50 million for a defender, which equals 200 million. The yearly cost will be around 40 million in transfers, 40 million in wages, and it all fits within the rules. Obviously, that's when it all kind of gets amortized. So but we have to buy smart, and we have to buy in a way that allows us to win trophies in a consistent way and to qualify for the Champions League. That's the main aim as well, isn't it? And we constantly will have to kind of replace players. We have to get really good players in order to be able to do that. And we'll be able to do it by a smart way of doing that, not just blow 200 million, for instance. I thought somebody was saying my mic has gone again. But to be able to do it in a consistent way, so sell smart like Chelsea do. I know Bobby Fairview will like that, which is sell between 1 to 2 backup players, i.e. a Matt Target. So we've got a solid target. We've got 30 million lined up for him, an academy player. So if we sell 30 million while spending the money as well, that allows us to buy players at a more consistent rate, but also avoid selling in big bold writing. Avoid selling the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony Gordon, so our blue chip players and Isaks. Unless, of course, God forbid, God forbid, I'm not even going to say it. We have to keep our best stars, put it that way. And I think higher wages and winning trophies helps that. So win trophies, qualify for Champions League, and give higher wages pretty much assures player. What helps to assure players stay for longer, right? So, and in order to be able to do that, we have to spend smart. So why big signings build a trophy-winning squad? So while small sales keep Newcastle's financially strong, so big signings build a trophy-winning squad, which is what Newcastle need to be. And small sales keep Newcastle financially strong. So a key takeaway for Newcastle, again, projected 360 million revenue, Newcastle can spend 200 to 250 million pounds on 3 to 4 star players to chase Champions League spots and trophies, while selling 30 million pounds worth of backups yearly to stay super safe financially, thanks to Isak's massive 125 million, 130 million players. Obviously, that's taken into account that Newcastle winning trophies, they're regularly qualified for Champions League, so our revenue continues to go up. So we don't then therefore have to keep on selling our blue chip players. We can still just continue buying players whilst selling, 20 to 30 million pound backups, but still being able to buy expensive players and quality players, which I think Bobby would say he'd want Chelsea to do, right? So essentially, big signings build a winning trophy squad. So, for instance, should Newcastle qualify for the Champions League again this season, my expectation would be, obviously, depending, we can't predict who's going to leave and who's going to stay, but my expectation would be that if Newcastle were to spend anywhere between 100 and 200 million pounds, we would make between 20 to 30 million pounds in sales as well. Hopefully not having to sell any of our big stars, because our sporting director has been on them every day on a weekly basis, making sure they're okay and that nobody else is sniffing around them. Right? So let me give an example of that. I give a bit more of how that might look as well. So let me just go. Let me start from here. Let me just kind of break it down a little bit more. Because it gets in the way. Okay, let me take that off. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I got your comments up, but I need to first see what I'm doing. So let me give an example of that. I'll give an example of that, right? So kind of a scenario. So Newcastle's 25-26 financial picture, right? So how Newcastle can spend smart after a big transfer. So Newcastle's obviously we're safe with Premier League spending rules thus far. What's PSR rules limit of 105 million in losses over 3 years to keep spending fair? So our status is safe, right? Going down a little bit. So our current headroom is £100 million extra room under PSR thanks to sales and from the previous revenue, which was 320 million. Our spending power is at 150 million to 200 million on new players in 2026 without having to sell anyone. If we keep wages in check, it's currently at 68% of revenue. Obviously, that's below the 70% limit. So as long as we keep that in check, what's the next goal? The next goal is how much can they spend before selling players? Newcastle can spend between 150 million to 200 million pounds on players on transfers, 3 to 4 big signings without selling anybody, assuming they keep more of our sponsors and matches, right? Assuming we're qualifying for the Champions League, assuming we're winning trophies, we can do that, right? So an example, what's an example? An example of that would be, say Newcastle buy a 70 million striker on a 5-year deal. That costs 14 million a year. Obviously, if we're looking for the amortization, right? Plus 10 million in wages. Wages are the big thing about it, which is affordable for Newcastle. Very, very doable. So think of Samuel Amarodian, for instance, right? Very doable, right? So a smart plan would be to use Isak's money and others to spend wisely. So buy 3 to 4 players, 70 million pound striker, 60 million pound attacker, 50 million pound defender, for instance, which is between 150 million to 100 million pounds spent. Keep wages at 70% of revenue because we have to. Sell smart. We can sell between 1 to 2 fringe or academy players, so 25 million to 30 million in total each year. Again, assuming we're qualifying for the Champions League, we're getting trophies. Even just qualifying for the Champions League, to be honest. And we can continue to sell backup players of 50 million pounds, 10 million pounds, things like that. So these funds our big signings while we stay PSR safe. So it's a big win for Newcastle. Isak sell has given Newcastle the ability to is blocking my view here. So it's given us the ability to sign big players. So Newcastle's are financially strong. We can spend money on stars like a new striker and stay safe by selling players between 20 to 30 million pounds of player sales, thanks to the huge sell and growing revenue. So essentially, Newcastle, in my opinion, and this goes towards the sliding doors, we have an opportunity to, before the door was shut, especially PSR wise, we have broke it open, and should we qualify for the Champions League again this year, we have an opportunity to keep it ajar. And with the players that we've brought in, and again, this is where it comes to what happens on the pitch, isn't it? With the players that we've brought in, I believe that we can keep it ajar and we can consistently be a consistent team who win trophies, who qualify for the Champions League and don't have to worry about PSR again. So for me personally, I think it's again too early to judge. In terms, there's an assessment to review. Obviously, how successful we'll know this time next year how successful this window has been. But if I'm looking at what we know now, with the information that we have now, it has been an outstandingly successful window for Newcastle United. I think Nat gave an earlier rating of 8 out of 10. I think I'll give it 8 out of 10 as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I'm going to read you guys' chat and see, and before we close up the show. But on the pitch, the players that we've brought in, we're younger, stronger. We've dealt with also the previous concerns and weaknesses of the squad as well through the players that we brought. And off the pitch, for the finances, we're in a very, very good PSR position. We have an opportunity now to really, really put ourselves in a financial position where we never have to worry about PSR again. Now, part of that would be, obviously, like I said, qualifying regularly for the Champions League position as well. So I think we have every chance of doing that, in my opinion. So let me see what you guys are saying. What is you guys' perspective? I had the comment there. Right. El Capo says it sells. Let me just drink my water. And please do continue to like, share, and subscribe. El Capo says, in sales since January, that counts for future PSR headroom. We were in good shape before PSR. We were, I agree. Going into this windows, is that you the times profits by 5 times? Is it that you times the profits by 5? That's the headroom. No, so how I looked at the financial headroom was, you know that you can have 105 million in losses. I looked at the headroom as, say we're 95 million in 95 million in losses. Therefore, we have 10 million in financial headroom. That's what I mean by financial headroom. Whereas now, with the Isaac sell, we've got, I can't remember what I said, was it £100 million in financial headroom? Like, it's quite a lot. So that's what I mean by financial headroom. Yeah. Bobby Fairview, great. Bobby Fairview says, I'm here, ready to audit. Got you playing in the background. Thank you, sir. Let me know what you think. Martin Bland says, and in fact, I might ask Bobby to come back on, and I think we're doing a show on Thursday, actually. So I'll ask him about that as well. Martin Bland says, we just signed another contract with a Bitcoin company too. We did. And I think those contracts are going to get bigger and fatter. Should we continue to consistently qualify for the Champions League? Queen of Heart says, good evening, Philip. Good evening to you, Queen of Heart. Always good to see you. God bless you. I hope you're well now the transfer window is finally shut. I am indeed. It's been a long summer, but we can now finally concentrate on the players who matter. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Jack says, LB needs depth. I don't disagree. We've got the young Alex Murphy there, and we've also got Malick Thiaw who can cover as well. We'll have to make do with that for now. BT, 70% limit is the standard for the 25-26 season and onwards. Okay, yes, it is. Any spending above the 70% cap reduces a club's headroom and is subject to financial penalties. Is that for the UEFA though? I think it's for the clubs that qualify for the Champions League, isn't it? So it's going to be us, isn't it? So yes. So we've got to continue growing our revenue. We have to. That's why, I've predicted 360 million revenue. We have to continue. We have to grow it. No matter how much we do, we have to grow it. Bobby Fairview says Newcastle will add another 60 million in dry powder from prize money. Yeah, I love that. If you advance to the group stage of the... Oh, is it? So that would take my estimations even higher. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Thanks for that one, Bobby. El Capo says higher wages have a negative effect because the club has to deal with UEFA SCR and plus PSR in the PL. They do. And increase your revenue is the answer. It's like Bobby said, qualify from the group stage. You might, you can worry. That's where the football has to do the talking. The football has to do talking anyway, but that's where the football has to do talking. Martin Bland says World Cup year 2, massive shop window. Nice to have the cash. Absolutely. Especially if we qualify for the Champions League again and we have a successful year, trophy-wise and others as well. Adrian Pickett says, these numbers are making my head spin. Haven't experienced such brain melt since Woltemade named his favorite German player of all time. God, I know. Hey, man. That's his guy, isn't it? And there's a lot in terms of what players name as their players. Jacob Ramsey named Lampard, and he models himself around that player. I'll have to look at Woltemade's interviews a little bit more. I know them in German. I will see if I can get subtitles. I want to see what players he models himself around. But Kai Havertz isn't. Some might be disappointed. I'm not personally, but Kai Havertz is. He might be a player that he models himself around. El Capo says Villa got hit hard for the SCR breach and Chelsea breach for the third year in a row. Chelsea don't give a monkeys, bruv. They're like, what rules? Bobby Fairview, buy another striker as the first item under how would you buy another striker as the first item? Yeah, under how you should spend. You've got 2 good ones already. Yeah, no, that was just an example, Bobby. That was just an example. That was just an example. Um, Probably, like you said, it's probably a creative midfielder. And I still think even next year, should things go well, it's not necessarily that we don't buy another striker, but I think we'll sell a Solo, for instance, and get another player. But yes, it was just an example, really. Martin Bland says we will get a young kid striker, someone to develop, but good enough to come onto the pitch if needed. Yeah, I think so. Just to keep either they become a star or we sell them for 20, 30 million, essentially. Jack says selling Isak stepped us up to the level of the big boys temporarily. Realistically, we need a big sell every 3 years, or we buy young and sell on after a season, or 2 low-key or solid deals that get pulled. I hope it's what more the strategy that I've said, which is, my mic is cracking up again. Let me look down. Guys, is my mic okay? Let me know if my mic is okay. Check, 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 1, 2, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. Let me know if my mic's okay, guys. Good, brilliant, thank you. So thanks for that, Bobby. So yeah, I just the better way is continue qualifying for the Champions League, winning trophies, because I don't want to go through an Isak every other. I know that you have to, but I prefer to go through an Isak situation in the place of strength. Do you know what I mean? Like, have Isak, we'll go get, this young hot striker, for instance. So that would be my thing. But good to see you, Matley, by the way. God bless you, Matley. Good to see you. Bobby says, Mike going nuts again. Oh, yeah. That was before, don't know. I hope it's good now. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. Intermittent battle. I did. People telling me about the cable issues. Jack says his mic's cursed whenever we mention it's broken, it goes back to normal. I blame Isak for this. Aaron says he blames Isak for my mic. Martin Bland says window feels good. We may not battle for the title this year, but we should be strong. Hoping I'm wrong about the former though. So am I. I hope to be a surprise dark horse, honestly. Jack says make sure the mic doesn't have a drink too. Samsam says you lot still blaming the Cartel 6 or Red Cartel or whatever you call us. Okay, no, we're talking about us at the moment. I'm talking about you. But God bless you, Sam. Good to see you, by the way. Hope you're well. How was Grimsby? Robo Jog. Yes, Phil. King Kai got pulled. As for Woltemade, see you in 2 seasons, kiddo. Oh my word. Matlu says, I think Woltemade will occupy the 10 role at times. I think a lot of times, to be honest, especially. I agree. Yeah, my mic is good. All right, so getting to the conclusion part. Bobby Fairby says, I hope Newcastle is planning to build a youth academy. Yes, we are. Where it's in a temporary place at the moment, but there is plans to do that, especially after the stadium. You need to develop a pipeline of talent for sale. I agree, absolutely. That solves everything, and you'll get all the kids in the north. Absolutely. I agree with that, Bobby. That solves everything. Shawnee Yola, I don't know if it's your first time here, but God bless you, sir. Welcome to Toon Tactics TV. He says quickest PSR win is extra capacity in a new stadium, but that's gone very quiet. And I think they've got permission for the land as well. I think there'll be a big announcement soon. But guys, we've reached the end of the show. We've got to the conclusion part of the show. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to keep my mic, just in case my mic's going to get, but you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. we've talked about. We broke the show into two parts. We talked about the football side of things in terms of the players that we brought in. We gave an overall view. The team is younger. The team is taller, physically more robust and imposing. The team has also got the players that have addressed um, uh, the previous areas of development as well. On paper at least. So I'm very, very happy in terms of the players that we've got in. Obviously, I'd have liked Mr. Isak to stay, but it's fine. He didn't. We've moved on. We've got another superstar, hopefully, in the making in Woltemade and others. We broke down the profiles of those individual players, as well as gave like an overall general overview. Do they answer the previous areas of development? They do. And then we went to the second part of the show. We talked about Newcastle's finances, where we are, and where Newcastle currently are in a very, very, very healthy financial position as well. And where we can spend we can spend money, and we can compete. But the aim would be to compete in a sustainable way. And that's where what happens in the pitch and what happens off the pitch come together. Newcastle on the pitch have to continue to qualify for the Champions League, win trophies to add prestige to the club. Off the pitch, we have to continue to recruit the right players, spend the money where it's needed, but also make the right sell. So spend big on players to create a trophy-winning team, and spend small on players to make it all sustainable. That is going to be the key for Newcastle United. I just got a couple more chats before we go off, but I've given our window an 8 out of 10 rating for players and for the financial side of things. I think we've bought well. I think we've sold very well, and we've kept most of our blue chip players. Obviously, Isak being one of our crown jewels who's left, but fair play, it's happened. And that's partly the 8 out of 10 reason that I've given it. At the same time, though, it's also been the blessing in terms of the financial aspect for Newcastle. So, like I've said, the way I see it, the door that was closed to us via PSR has at least for now been broken open. But to keep it ajar, Newcastle have to do the talking on the field. We have to qualify for the Champions League again in order to make that happen. Qualify from the group stages as well. It adds to it. £60 million in prize money is unbelievable. Wobodrug says, in my opinion, Newcastle United higher-ups lack experience at this stage. It's a game of survival. It's better to be less antagonistic once you or they have 3 to 4 consecutive Champions Leagues as a host. Hold on, let me read that again. Sorry, Wobodrug. Let me read that again. In my opinion, NUFC higher-ups lack experience. Okay? At this stage, it's a game of survival. It's better to be less antagonistic. Okay? Once they have 3 to 4 consecutive Champions Leagues, be as hostile as you want to retain your talent. I know you didn't mean it like that, RoboJob, but the way I see it when you're saying be less antagonistic, it's almost like keep quiet and know your place. And I reject at least how it's come across to me that way. I do understand from a player's perspective and all the other stuff, but if we don't fight for our players on and off the pitch, what's the point of the players who are there, the likes of Bruno Gomes, who show loyalty, who fight for the team? What's the point for them staying? Why would they want to stay? If they see a team that's just willing to just let its players go, or to just not be willing to fight. And again, in terms of antagonistic, we didn't pick a fight with with Liverpool or any other team, we, the owners, are acting, in my opinion, have been acting in the interest of the club. So, I don't blame them for that. I also want to say is that they did try to get Ekatike, Benjamin Sesko, and other players early in the window. Had we got Ekatike, I think that again the Isak saga would have been solved 6 weeks ago, but we didn't. So I don't think it's so much Newcastle owners being antagonistic. In my view, I think it's Newcastle United owners looking out for the best interest of the club. And in terms of 3-4 Champions League qualifications, I think if you're always, and before you become hostile, I think if you are a pussycat when you started off, you're more than likely going to stay a pussycat as you go on. And also, again, I don't think Newcastle have been hostile or antagonistic. I think the big six clubs are wary, and some of them panicking, and some of them are just not doing well, and so are just lashing out and being condescending to us because our trajectory is going the other way compared to them. So I don't look at it as Newcastle. I kind of reject the notion that we're being hostile, antagonistic. I think from the owners to the fans, I try my best. I don't think I'm more successful at it, to be honest, to not be hostile, but to defend the interest of the club as well. So it comes across to me that you're kind of saying, keep your head down, keep quiet, don't disrupt, don't say this, don't say that. We can't live like that. Even before the takeover happened, they made new rules to stop Newcastle, to try and stop Newcastle from having the takeover. First of all, then there's changed sponsorship rules and all these other PSR rules to stop Newcastle from being able to really to exploit the market. That's not Newcastle being hostile. That's a hostility before. That was hostility from the Big Six and from the other clubs as well, from even before the Newcastle had a takeover. So I don't see why Newcastle should be quiet and keep their head down to that. I think you have to respond, and you have to show them who you are. I don't think it's done Tottenham any favors, for instance, to keep your head down. Because they're forever getting bantered as well. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on it. Oh, got a couple more chats as well. Thank you, Aaron says, thank you for the amazing show as always. Thank you, Aaron. God bless you. Or thank you for being here. Always from the beginning to the end. Matley says, we win in the Champions League this season. I can feel it. I love the optimism there. Juniela says, better to lose a player like Isak to help PSR as he wants to go than lose a loyal player like Bruno. Yes. Yes, 1,000%. I 1,000% agree with that, Janila. Absolutely agree with that. Aaron Kame says, I disagree with Obajog, to be honest. Having that perspective means we'll never get close to where we want to be if we have a valuation that should be met, and we need to have tough negotiators. Yeah, I agree. Obajog is not, obviously, I didn't mean that. I am looking at how it ended up. Woltemade and Wissa, total cost versus Ekatike Wissa, total cost, and in both cases you get a similar fee for Isak. But I don't get it, because we tried to get Ekatike. Liverpool got Ekatike. I don't know. And if you look at the wages that Ekatike has got, is a lot more than when we could have afforded as well. So I don't know. We tried Ekatike, Sheshko, João Pedro. I don't know what else we can. I don't know. I just don't know what else Newcastle could do. In my opinion, we got actually blamed for going for those players. They said, "Oh, why are you going for players that the big clubs are going for?" They didn't know. People will know. We've done shows on Ekatike, João Pedro. We did extensive. No big six. The guys, no one was saying, "Oh, that João Pedro is going to be something." Who's heard of Ekatike? How many shows have people heard from from other shows talking about these players. You don't hear them on. You heard them on Newcastle on Newcastle shows. So we get blamed for going for these players, and then we get. So I don't know. I just don't. I don't like the thing I'm getting across is like kind of behave, keep your head down, and that just kind of goes against my nature, and I think it goes against how Newcastle are, the fans and everything that we've got going. Adrian says, "Well, our higher ups are certainly not certainly on a steep learning curve, but yes, keep your condescension in your pocket, Bobo." I don't think he's being condescending. I think it's always difficult on when you're writing messages and stuff like that. Bobo certainly isn't condescending at all. Great long-standing member of the Toon Tactics community. El Capo says, Newcastle United do business with due diligence and a proper manner. To disrespect them will only make them more determined to succeed. I certainly think so and hope so. Oh, I went to private comments for some reason. I was going to... Martin Bland says we're upsetting the status quo, so naturally we'll have a target on our back, but we are lions, we roar, and we are united. Absolutely. I need a proper roar. Petrus Kiribas, good to see you. Long time. God bless you. Ekatike didn't want Newcastle, not committed. Same as Sesko and Pedro. Yeah, I don't know what we could do. Like it is what it is. Petro says Wissa will score 20 goals this season. Watch this space, and I'm gonna hold you to that, Petro. I'm gonna hold you to that. All right, folks, you've been absolutely phenomenal. I want to thank everybody. Some of you guys have been here from the beginning to the end. I want to thank Wobo Jog. I want to thank Bobby Fairview, Petras, Adrian, Aaron Kane. Okay, I'll get one more message, Robert. I'm actually going to close off. Yes, but wasn't there a standoff Selas, Isak, and you get Ekatike? That's what the narrative was. Liverpool didn't know. Part of the reason why, this is just my take on it. I think the narrative was that Liverpool was doing some sort of, like Selas Ekatike type of thing. But at the end of the day, Isak is on contract with us. Like that doesn't work, right? Because the player is on contract with us. We'll just say, okay, buy Ekatike and we'll keep Isak, right? So the better way of doing it was for both owners to just speak to each other. I just don't think that. I just don't think that's happened. That's my take. Look back now. At that point, I think maybe NUFC higher-ups could be more calculative. I could be wrong, and we all could be wrong. But look, we had the medical booked. We're there ready to buy the guy, and Liverpool went and got him. So I just don't know what else we can do. If he's got the medical booked, and Liverpool say, give us Isak or else. What Liverpool? Do we know what Liverpool are offering? Because they offered us 110 million at that time. There's no way we're going to take 110 million. Right? So I think that's where we're at with it. All right, folks. So I see tons more people coming in, but good to see Register Kev. Somebody doesn't like worse players out there who says, oh, because he says he likes Kai Havertz. Goodness gracious. Thanks, Register. Maybe if he said Messi, that means he'll be the best player in the world. Matt Lee says Liverpool knew they were getting their guy either way. Right, so guys, God bless you. You've been absolutely phenomenal. From the beginning to the end. Bobby Fairview, Aaron Kane, Wobo Jog, Register Kev at the end there, Adrian Pickett, so many folks here, Nat at the beginning as well. Guys, you've been absolutely phenomenal. As always, folks, make sure you look after each other, and God bless, folks.